Hey guys, and welcome to Dance Talk. Today we'll be talking about full-time dance, and I'm so excited to have three incredible guests here with me today. We've got Mahoney, Stephen Tannos,
hey,
and the amazing Leah Howard.
Hey.
And I'm your host, BJ Rorke. Thanks so much for coming out today, guys.
You're welcome. You are so
Thank
welcome.
you.
Welcome to my abode.
It was an easy birth.
Second episode.
Slip right out.
Yes.
Yes, thanks for having us.
Yeah, you guys are second episode, and you guys have been a big part in my life, and I'm excited to have a chat to you guys today.
As are we.
Leah, you did full time first out of us.
Thank you.
The nicest way to say that.
The best way to say it, Sage. Thank you.
So you did it in '97, didn't you?
Yes, I did it in '97 at Brent Street. Roselle. Yes, when
Roselle.
it was a small...
Rose.
Roselle.
Yeah.
When it was small and there was, 25 of us maybe.
Wow.
That's it.
And how many other courses do you reckon were around Sydney at the time?
Well, I think there might have been one or two others. Actually, David Atkins, who
Yes.
was, big producer of mass events. And yep,
Yeah,
they had
Dynamite,
Dynamite. So they were going at the same time in Camperdown, funnily enough, in the studios that we moved into.
That's right.
know that.
Yes.
That's where I moved
Yeah.
to Brent Street.
Yes,
at
that's
the time,
right.
yeah.
Same here, yeah.
But yeah, so, and they had, theirs was a quite more of a contemporary based. Jamie Beckett was the head of that before coming over to be the head of that,
Wow.
of Brent Street. So they had quite a contemporary based program, which is, when I say contemporary based, I think now in this day and age, it's very much like a chunky move based program and stuff like that. So it was pretty cool. It was really interesting, and we were both very different.
Yeah. And that's, I think, something big I want to talk about today is I guess, with so many full-time courses now, is there a big difference between all of them, and how are they all kind of finding their own place? It's so difficult because there is so many more options. How do you think it's kind of, I mean, you've kind of transitioned more out of the dance school world now, and
Yeah.
you're hiring dancers out of full-time now.
Yeah.
What do you kind of see the biggest differences?
It's really interesting because now it's a government-based program.
Yeah.
Like back then, we weren't able to get Austudy. The certificate was basically a piece of paper that, big old bad Wayne just rolled up and put a smart tie on. So it's a being a government-based program for me sits completely in a different realm because I am not very, I don't stick to order and precision, and it's very controlled, and it's very
Syllabus-based.
Yeah, syllabus-based, and you
Yeah.
have assessments.
Oh,
I mean,
active.
you guys probably would have had assessments in your years coming down, maybe.
I was meant to in my second year, but because I'd already got a set, because I already got a set 4, I didn't bother doing it.
Yeah, right. So
So it was 2012 was when it came in,
Yeah.
or at least at Brent Street.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And then there's it's gone on to like diplomas of dance, and there's so many options.
There's so many different streams now.
Yeah, which kind of, I guess, in a sense, like it gives it governance. I mean, who wants dance? Doesn't creative and arts doesn't need to be governed. We want to be free. We want to create. We want to,
Yeah.
I don't want to have to create within guidelines that therefore then I have to write down on a piece of paper. And I know essentially, that's just not the way I personally work as a choreographer or as a dancer. I just want to dance.
Yeah.
Same as 99% of other dancers as well, right?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So, which kind of, I don't know, it doesn't defeat the purpose, and it just, why did it have to be controlled by the government? Obviously, for financial purposes, and it's great in order for students to get an allowance, to help keep them alive through the whole process. But yeah, I mean, as dancers, we come out, we don't have a study, we don't have an allowance, we don't have, any of that anyway. So you come out of getting a weekly wage to survive through a course, and you come out and you don't. We have to still go to work, and find other jobs.
Yeah, very
So
true.
I know that's different, and I'm completely gone off the topic, but yeah, that's what I see now these days doing full-time courses around.
Yeah.
The hard governance is for someone who's creative or organic or free spirits in the way we create. Writing assessments and essays isn't really dancing for us from a physical point of
It
view.
reminds me of high
different
school.
world.
The last couple of years of that, it was like, you do. There is an aspect to that I feel like is very useful because it helps you to work towards a goal and to be able to achieve things on a deadline. Which is, I'm more talking about high school now. I guess the two kind of converge now if you're talking about having a governing body.
Yeah.
I found high school itself, I didn't do full-time myself, but I found high school itself useful for that. But to kind of push it into the dance space, you're right, is where it starts to get a little bit weird and almost puts that safe dance practice kind of net over it a little bit, which is something I've never really agreed with and on. But yeah, it definitely feels like a different time.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is,
and
yeah.
I think, going into the safe dance practice thing, that's, as dancers, we know our bodies.
Yeah.
We know our physical realms, we know our boundaries, and we know how to hit the floor. We know those things. And to then go and tell me that I can't do, the drop to the floor and roll because I'm not doing it properly, then makes me go, well, then I'm not telling a story, or I'm not
Yeah.
exerting
Yeah, that's not
my
working.
that's not dance to me.
Totally.
It turns into a step then, rather than
Yeah.
It becomes mathematical.
It becomes
exactly.
mathematical.
Yeah. Architectural, if you're trying to tell a really in-depth story, there's parts of reality that are so painful and shocking and surprising, and when you kind of dull the edges on the movement and things become a bit more geometricized. I don't know if that's a word, let's just say it
It
is.
is now.
Yeah, hashtag geometricized.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That you start to lose those raw edges of emotion and storytelling.
And connection.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So I probably should have put that out there when we first started. So Dylan, you did 2 years of full-time.
Mm-hmm.
Stephen, you and I both didn't
I'm
actually
not.
do any full-time year
Plans
or
to.
training.
Plans to, for sure.
Yeah, so did I. And I
Plan
think, I mean, just to kind of put a perspective on that, but both of us teach at full-time. You've kind of definitely probably taught at every full-time course in the country, I'd say.
A lot of them.
At the
yeah,
moment.
for sure. There's
So-
so many. There are so many now.
There are.
It seems like there's one sprouting up every single month or
Do you
week.
feel like there's a lot of common, I guess, focuses amongst the full-time courses, or what kind of stands out to you as something really different when you go?
Well, I feel like I sympathise with the people that run full-time studios, because I feel like, to run a business effectively, you need to have people in your building, basically. And it seems that the most common way of having the currency of getting people into your building is having the people that are most popular currently in your building. And are they necessarily always, and I'm just generalising here, are they necessarily always the right people that are to be teaching the full-timers to go into the industry straight away? Not always.
Not always, yeah.
But sometimes, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But it is tough, because to have a full-time institution that really has like its own in-house team of teachers and choreographers that don't work anywhere else and only exclusively work with these students is also hard as a choreographer from our business perspective, because my whole thing is like I want to get to as many places as possible,
Yeah.
and for me to offer my exclusive services to one place just doesn't seem like from a business standpoint like viable for myself.
Totally.
So I think what you do run into with full time in this current day, anyways, a lot of the same teachers, but every place has its own kind of core stuff, I guess. But it is hard for all the full time institutions to like really
Stand out.
differentiate themselves.
Yeah.
And I sympathise with that, and they're always trying to find new ways to do that, and some do it really well, and some are still figuring it out. Some are so new. Some have been established for 20, 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
So, but it is hard to differentiate.
Is
those.
there there's a conversation, because I guess they've put a governing body along a full-time course and it becomes a certificate, it becomes a diploma. Does that mean that now, when I went to full-time to be on stage? I wanted to come out and be
Yeah.
the best performer I could possibly be
100%.
in all facets of dance, performance,
And be
art,
ready to book a
sing.
job.
And absolutely, I just wanted to dance, sing, and do everything,
Yeah.
So now that I'm going for my certificate, it allows me to do a full-time course in order to be a dance teacher. So
Right.
that there's that, and I don't even know what. I don't even know why you would do a diploma after doing a certificate before. I mean, I've never done a musical where I've had to present my certificate. I mean, I
Yeah.
couldn't find
Well,
it.
this is
Yeah.
Well, this is a really important topic. I think when people ask me about which course to go to, it's really hard. And I guess today is not about
It
telling
is.
kids what course to go to, but I always say don't base which course you decide to go to on what certificate you end up with, because I still don't know of a part of our industry that goes, do you have a Cert 4 or a diploma?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, no,
show me
no.
it. I don't, I mean, probably schools or like maybe also teaching, there's probably some aspects, but
Yeah, right.
the stuff that we do, I mean, I've never heard of anyone asking for that.
No.
I'm not pirouetting with my diploma in hand.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm already bad enough without it.
Yes, he is.
She knows.
But yeah, like that's the thing. I'm not sure why are we offering. I love a full-time course, but if I feel like if your end game isn't just to be the best performer you can and book a gig,
100%.
and dance and perform because it's your passion and you can get paid to, do this. That confuses me.
Yeah.
Because I don't, the best of us don't have, Kelly Abbey, I don't see, she doesn't have a Cert 4 diploma.
Yeah.
Yet she, she should be.
She was undeniable.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
like, it's
the
just,
queen.
yeah, it's such a strange thing because I just don't understand what that diploma is going to help me do.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's, just spearheading off that as well. Like, kids come up to me all the time and ask, like, what do I need to do within this course to get myself to that person? And they're looking at a person and they've got a person in mind in the course. How do I be like that person who's clearly undeniable and they have just this burning desire and it's just within them and you can see it in their eyes, you can feel it from them. I'm like, there's not really a way you can teach that. Like, you have to come in already with that ability to be able to take on the lessons that you learn throughout that year of doing intensive training 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. But you need to come in with that fire alight already, and you need to be able to take those things on without, you can't learn that through an institution. All you can do is better your skills and learn how to pick up choreography a little bit better maybe, and learn how to work with others a bit better. But I feel like that star quality, that innate X factor, which is a cliche term, but it's true, that just comes from within. And that's something that is, a lot of people go to full-time searching for that.
Yeah.
And I feel like you can't really, especially in that later development stage of your life, it has to already innately be within you.
Yes.
I've
always said, like, if you're not ready as a dancer by the time you go to full-time, just wait a few more years. Stay in your studio. Like, people think they have to get in so young. Parents are so pressured, like, oh, that kid's already starting full-time, like, I need to get my daughter in now, and they're not ready. If you're not ready to, as a dancer, and you're kind of using this year or two to kind of tune yourself to be ready to be hired and to work and to take on the criticism and all the pressure that comes with being a professional dancer, then just wait a little bit longer. There's no rush.
There's no rush. And what better, you have to have life experience.
Yeah.
I feel it makes us better performers and storytellers. And like, it's that little bit of difference. If it's a year or two, you see it and you go, you don't understand what I'm saying when I say be vulnerable and tell me this story, because that's not where you're at.
You've been sheltered up until this point.
Yeah, you're not at that age to release that, in order to release your soul, to release your arms, in order for that move to be just absolutely, huge and, and connect that, that connectivity.
That's such an important part. And then, and Dylan, coming from Adelaide, you grew up in Adelaide. I guess it's another whole kind of ball game because
I went to in before then.
Yeah.
But, go on. Sorry.
Well, I was going to say, like,
shut up.
Because I think living in Sydney or Melbourne or somewhere like that, and doing full time is one thing, but coming from interstate or coming from a small town or a city like Adelaide, there's another whole set of kind of, I guess, tasks that you want to accomplish during full time. How did you feel moving from Adelaide?
Funny story. Get comfy. When I decided to go to Brent Street, I actually had never done any research on what Brent Street was at all. At all.
Wow.
My girlfriend at the time just told me it was the best dance school and that's where she was going, so I was like, yep, I'm going there. And thank God I did.
Yeah.
But the reason I did 2 years as well is because when I got there, I realised, because in Adelaide I used to win all my solos and all that. I thought I was the bee's knees. And then I came to Sydney and I was like, oh. And then, I kind of just, I lost track of what I was talking about.
When I came from
Adelaide.
Yeah.
Well, you're meeting everyone in the
I
industry.
didn't know anybody. And then, I had realised that I wasn't as good as I thought I was. And that's why I did 2 years, because it was more so the training that I needed, like the fundamentals. Like, we had people like Roy Dudley
Wow.
teaching me every single week. Like he changed the way I dance completely. And you were saying this before, BJ. It's like you were Tannos about having the certain people that are just like the hot choreographers come in and teach.
Yes.
It's like, do they actually teach the stuff like Roy Dudley does, or that Cameron Mitchell does, or stuff? Like, I learned so much from that and made me the dancer I am today.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like that is always. I went off topic, but I don't feel like it's always from all these hot choreographers. Are they just going in there because they have sick combos, or are they actually teaching?
I definitely know it's very common, and I definitely know that there was one particular course where someone in charge there said to me, "Oh yeah, we pretty much just wait, and if everyone goes, oh that was the funnest class ever, then we rehire that choreographer. If the students don't love the class, we don't get them back." And I think full-time is not about that. It shouldn't be about that. It should be about what they need in that year or two.
There was when I was at Brent Street as a senior, before full-time, there was the classes that I most dreaded going to were the ones that by far
Helped you the most.
I would try to make myself sick in the bathroom before Jackie's jazz
Yeah,
class.
but you hated many classes.
I mean, I definitely did.
But and I'm just thinking of your lovely, gorgeous feet. And
They're good.
The cashew.
the cashew, King Cashew.
King cashew.
King of cashews.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah,
I used to dread it, but I look back on it and I'm like,
You
it was
needed
how far out I was of my comfort zone in that class is I needed to be in that, and I was around people like you and Hilton and all those other boys and girls in that class that were far ahead of me because I hadn't come from the same training you guys had, and I needed to be scared shitless in that environment, and that it was the best thing I ever did was moving to Brent Street. Like, just a quick backstory on me, like I trained at a small dance studio until I was like 13, 14, and it wasn't until I was about 15, a few years before finishing high school, I was like, oh my god, I need to jump ship and go to Brent Street.
Yeah.
And I'd completely missed all the training that you guys had gotten. Like, I was the only boy, similar to you, like I thought I was bee's knees, winning all my solos, and then I very quickly went to Brent Street, and Matt Lee's jazz class was the first class I went to. I was pirouetting on my heels, spotting 48 times, but I thought I was killing
like
it.
you were giving it.
But I mean, I guess
You came there with the fire.
I came with the fire. I had that.
Yeah,
I know I had
yeah.
that for sure. And it's again what I will tell every full timer that comes up to me at the end of class and asks what is I need to work on. And the main thing I'll say is I feel like you're very, very comfortable in this one particular thing because I see you do it. I see it on Instagram where I walk past the room, but then you come into here and all that confidence is gone away. You hide in the back corner of the room and you almost throw your hands up in defeat before you've even started doing anything.
Yeah.
And
Totally.
it's focusing those classes that are, you sound like a broken record saying this, but it's so true. Like, you've got to focus in those classes that make you so uncomfortable because clearly there's something in there that needs to be addressed.
And that's what full time is. It's growth. It's absolute evolution of us as performers and going, oh God, we have the time to fail miserably in a safe space. We have the freedom to go outside of our comfort zones and go, oh, you know what? I'm not going to be a dancer. I'm going to be an actor, or I'm going to actually, I'm contemporary with my first love. I'm going to go, and work on my hip hop, or I'm going to work on, other styles. I mean, it's hard because I also see in full time classes people drawing the line. Okay, do you want to be a commercial dancer or you want to be a musical theatre performer? I mean, we were never told that.
No,
we were just like, dance
everything.
your box off.
Yeah.
Box. Dance your balls. No, dance your face off.
Balls face.
Yeah. Dance your face off. And just be. Just get on there and perform. It's a hard
There was
line.
no option other than to be everything.
There shouldn't be an option, should there? I don't know.
No.
Like, we shouldn't go full time to be a commercial dancer because there's going to be 20 gigs and there's 17 million full time courses,
100%.
and there's 20 spots for you on that X Factor with Square Division.
Well, and that's, I was literally about to say that.
Like,
you do a Q&A with students in this current day over the last maybe 5 years, and you go around the circle and you ask them, what is it that you aspire to? And with hopes that a lot of them will just be like, I just want to perform. I want to
do everything.
I want to broaden myself. I want to do theatre. I want to do film. I want to whatever it comes. But 80% of those kids are going to say, I would love to dance on something like the X Factor, which is great, something we've all done and we've all worked on in some capacity, but it's 5% of our work. What about all the other? Why not get yourself one singing lesson a week? Just invest that little extra bit of money. Like, thank God I did that.
Yeah.
Thank God you did that. And, do you see?
I'm actually doing it right now.
There we go.
Yeah.
And you sing obviously as well. And thank God we did that,
Yeah.
because how many other jobs did that open us up to?
Absolutely. I mean, versatility is the key. That's why
Yeah.
you should go to these courses. And if it
They should
means
teach you that.
that's right. If you want to be versatile and you end up being a dance teacher and that's where you want to go, great. Then you use that course. But why discount yourself from all
Yeah.
the possibilities?
Yeah,
true.
totally.
You know,
So true.
and not every. It's just 1 year and it goes so fast. And 2 years goes fast as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
Next minute you're out and it's just like,
You're in the real world.
you're in the real world. Why didn't I concentrate harder in, contemporary? Why didn't I push harder? Why didn't I turn up? Just turn up.
And you see
Yeah.
those kids
Yeah.
who come out of full time who didn't work as hard as they could have, and you feel that resentment from them within themselves.
Yeah.
When you see them a couple of months later, and you see this regret in their eyes, like, oh my God, I really wish I didn't take that year for granted.
Yeah.
Because it becomes, and it's hard for this not to happen. It becomes a social endeavor. It becomes, and especially in this day and age with social media and it becomes an endeavor to get hot footage and this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
And you realize very quickly once finishing how fleeting all that stuff is, and how much of just a fast food fix and a quick rush of serotonin that is.
Yeah.
And it lasts for nothing,
Absolutely.
I think the full-time courses have a huge responsibility. Owning a dance school I can tell you, it's tough, it's hard, but you've got a mix of people that want to have fun, that their friends come and do it, and then you've got like a small percentage that want to make this a career.
Yeah.
If you're running a full-time course, you need to understand that those people are coming to you going, help me become a professional working dancer or performer. And if you just go, oh, they don't want to do as much tap, they don't want to sing, and go, oh, we'll let them do what they want, you're not being fair. You're
also doing disservice to our industry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's hurting the industry.
You're putting out hundreds and hundreds of kids that just take over auditions and don't really care and kind of, it's irresponsible.
Yeah.
And also their mental health that comes after the fact of when they leave.
They've worked so
and
hard.
they've worked so hard and you've just let them go and now they're lost in a world of going, I don't know what to do now. Like, what's an agent? Why haven't I got one? Why aren't I seeing one? Why aren't I at the auditions?
Yeah.
Has anyone explained that to you? Are people in full teaching coordinators of full-time courses getting deep and it might not happen for you.
Yeah.
What's your plan B? Like, there has to be plan B.
What's the reality of your situation?
Yes,
Yeah.
Because the reality, I mean, especially right now, like, it's tough. And it's been tough for the last few years.
But
Like,
it's always tough.
yeah.
We were lucky that we all grew in a tough environment, and when it was just we're dancing on bricks, we're dancing on concrete, we were just going.
Yeah.
None of this safe dance practice. So we understand tough, but we were built tough. Fortunately, right now in this day and age, people aren't built tough enough to withstand what we have to do.
And yeah, exactly. Because if they're not, I remember, this actually brings me to a good point. I remember asking Wayne when I was at probably 15, 16, I was like, I see all these full-timers, like, it looks amazing. What's the difference between full-time and what we're doing here? And he said, during full-time, we're going to try to make you quit for a year. And if you don't, you're ready for the industry. And it's always stuck with me. And I feel like these days it's just not the same. It's just not the same anymore. And as soon as you get out, they're going to tell you you're not good enough. They're going to be telling you no every day. They're going to say, you need to do this, you need to change this about you, and you need to be ready to deal with that.
Yeah.
If you're just an amazing dancer and you can't actually be prepared to actually deal with all the other things that come with that industry, then it is going to be that mental health issue. It is going to be that reality check that they just weren't ready for.
And the mental health side of thing, that's something I know you're very passionate about. Well, all of us,
Yeah.
It's something that I feel like is becoming a lot more addressed, the stigma of it's being dropped. But it's a very real thing that I think, especially dancers who are that age, they're such an important part of growth in their life, who, just go through this year of training and then end up working another job, and then they end up kind of falling out of it, and they end up teaching every night, and teaching is the only thing they do, and blah, 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 blah. They go, like, that's a really taxing thing that if you're not fully kind of ready for that and being prepared mentally for that, it can really do you in, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's excuse me, it's that thing about, because you get into your full-time course, then people start giving you teaching jobs to juniors and teaching lots of kids, and then you're on the roll, and then you get out, you're on the roll, and it's like you've forgotten about what you were actually there for.
And then the teaching becomes, I've seen it happen to so many people, and then by the end of that next year, after full-time,
It's a job.
They're like a full-time teacher now.
Yeah.
Like, that's their
And
whole...
their career as being on the stage is just null and void.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it is hard because I also think auditioning lots of people in this day and age for lots of musical theatre shows, it's interesting how many people don't come in as what we used to say triple threats.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we get, even kids, it's like, oh yeah, he doesn't know how to tap dance. Well, it's fucking singing. Oh, sorry. Cut. He doesn't know how to tap dance. Well, it's singing in the rain.
Yeah.
It's a tap dance
They
show.
don't even know, how much tap is used.
That's it. And it's that thing of going, we didn't have an option. We had to go to tap class.
Even the fact that like the term triple threat was like the thing you wanted to be back in our day, and now I feel like it's almost like a naff kind of like.
It's kind of a commodity. It's always that one or two girls in the course that are like really passionate about theatre, but they're looked at as like a little bit geeky. But,
they're always.
But they're the ones that are going to like rise through.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Exactly.
But it's also like, if we were in New York or America, you'd be a quad threat because you have a musical instrument without a doubt.
Yeah.
But even here, it's also like, creatives are becoming, we are everything. We go behind the scenes, like Jordan, we go, into music, we go into everything because we just did it. And that those options aren't coordinators, full-time people aren't caring enough to go, what do you want to be? Okay, let's try being a pop band. I mean, Jackie put us all in pop bands. Right? We're all in a pop band, right? But we had the experience.
100% though.
And we either knew, we're going to do it or we're not going to do it. It's like, but we got that experience. Okay, great, right? We could. In this day and age, we could just jump in a pop band and be fine, and we could do Backstreet Boys, whatever it wanted to be. But it doesn't feel like people care enough to hone in and go, Dills, what do you want to do? Like really, you want to be behind the camera? Great, let's use that artistry, let's use that creative. You be the person that's doing in the course the films, do the short films. Like it's just, I think also it's about being innovative. We have more skills. We do have lots of skills, and we have to create, and we have to, we have to be in this arts industry together. And we can all feed off each other, exactly like this is now.
Yeah.
We've
100%.
got so many generations of sitting right here on the camera and off the camera. And that's a really good thing. If you didn't want to keep going full-time, great, he's gone somewhere else, and he's making a difference. But we have to nurture that as full-time teachers. And we have to, because otherwise their mental health will probably be absolutely rock bottom, and there's no one supporting that vision. Yeah. And it's okay to have a different point of view after full time, but just know it, voice it, talk about it, and let's help you get there.
Totally.
Yeah.
And also off that as well, it's like address, and you're a prime example of this, like, you coming from full time and Brent Street, all that kind of business, and how many of those skills how many parts of the industry are you a part of?
I want to be all parts. I like, art, film, director, curator, experience, theatre, voguing,
director, producer,
dancer, all of it, all of it.
You're probably the most person I've seen in everything. Every audition room I walk in, Leah's like up in the top corner, like doing hand-breaking something, or like she's got her fingers in so many.
Because why not? Like, it's our industry. And we can still be a part of it. Being a crew person doesn't make me any less than I was dancing on stage.
It just draws you.
And it's even more exciting because we're just mates hanging out on the set and being, we get to work with our family and friends. That's the important part about it, because full time is your family.
Definitely.
Especially for that year and onwards. You drop your high school kids, friends, they're in the wayside now. You've got to grow and evolve with, 30 people in this course that all have to, seem to have the same knowledge and same speak and ideology as you. And to grow with them at a pivotal time is really hard and intense. So you have to latch on.
You deal with egos and personalities.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's actually what Glendy E spoke about in our first episode. If she could go back and start her studio again, is making it more of a family, making it more collaborative, working as a team, and making everything feel that way. And I think the way everything is now, it's so easy for kids to go into full-time feeling like they're against the people in their full-time roles.
Yeah.
And I feel like so many things, like we started businesses throughout, like the latest part of our training, so many people started amazing things that turned into massive parts of our industry during their last years of training. It's about working together and feeling like we're all in this year, and we're all going to come out of this other end of this full-time course together and enter this industry as the next generation of dancers. We need to make a difference. How do we do that together?
Well, it's the same as going on a job, you know, like you've got a crew of 100 people working on this one TVC or whatever it may be, the music video. You know, those people need to collaborate and have this family-like energy with each other for that goal. And you've been on sets before where it feels like everyone's competing with each other and the director's trying to overtalk the AD and this, that and the other. And do those products ever turn out well?
No.
Never.
Like, I've been on TV shows that have felt like that as well. And
Yeah.
you can just tell from being behind the scenes, like, this is not going to go well. Sure enough, the ratings come in, whoa, I was right, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
but then you're on those shows where everyone, like, it's a well-oiled machine, everyone's loving each other, supporting each other, putting in their ideas, kind of, you know, helping, like, it should be the same thing with full-time.
Yeah.
Like,
Of course it should be. It's like dance class.
yeah.
You know, we support, we dance with each other, we're next to our brothers and sisters, and it's...
And that also comes back to the same thing of getting a lot of those guest teachers, which are really important as well for different reasons. But if you don't have that core team, that's kind of part of the furniture that all of the staff, all of the students can go to and kind of feel like that's Mama Bear.
Yeah.
And there's always one or two, but like I feel like it used to be a whole team that was like part of
Every
the family.
I guess that's
Yeah.
just because there's more full-time courses right now.
Yeah.
Like,
And
Yeah.
you think financially, it's just like, you know,
Yeah.
more people, get whoever we need, get, you know, as many
Who's
students
selling.
as we can.
Yeah.
You know, we're selling a business, let's just go.
And it is a business.
With the competitive
It is
nature
a
of
business.
But I guess with supply and demand, it almost comes back to the student's responsibility to do your research and not go, oh, I've always wanted to, that person's really popular, I'd love to do their class when I move to Sydney, or that person has a really great Instagram account, they teach at that studio. Look at who's working on that team in that studio and know about their career, know about, are they going to be the ones maybe hiring me after this?
Yeah.
Are the courses teaching me things that I don't already know? Are they pushing all the styles equally? And look at those things. And if the students start going to those full-time courses over the ones that are focusing on one or two styles or just doing one or two elements of that industry, then the other courses will start to follow. They'll start to be more innovative.
Do you think they will?
Well, I'd hope so.
I know, I think we're very hopeful people sitting around this round table.
yeah, definitely.
Like, I mean, it is, that's what you hope, but it's also about, it's the attention.
Yeah.
Like, it's about saying to these full-timers, you're doing this for life, this is our life.
Yeah.
This is not a plan A, we don't
Yeah.
have a plan B. This is my life.
Yeah.
So you live an artist's life, you go with the ups and downs, you stay creative, you stay strong, and you do this. You get a job at a pub, a cafe, well, not anymore, because
Not right now.
You get a job at a COVID-safe cafe.
Thank you. We're going into the new. Get a job at a COVID-safe restaurant, and you know, work 1 day a week. And like, it's our life. You know, like, it's different to a 9-to-5 job.
Oh, yeah.
You have to, like, full-time bosses and whatever, they need to remind people this is our life, and it consumes our life, and it's a wonderful life if you can hack it, and you just have to be ready for that.
Yeah.
And I think if you told full-timers that more from the beginning,
It would weed out a lot
it
of
would either weed out a lot of people, or it would prep them and go,
Yeah.
I'm ready.
yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah.
You know?
You're right. Like, you know, I mean, not having done full time myself, you know, I wasn't as prepared for it as I should be. But this is the kind of work that you go to bed with and you wake up with. And there's no, like, when you go to a 9-to-5, you go to your job, you sit down at your desk, you clock in at 9 a.m, clock out at 5 p.m, and your brain is empty for the rest of the day. But this is like, this deadline is at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, and
I've
you
got
got the
that
brief
music
3
and
minutes ago, and this, that, and the other, and like, there's no. You're kind of in charge of your own schedule, your own timetable, and you've always got to be looking ahead and to the sides. What's another thing I can do to diversify what I'm doing?
Yeah.
How can I move forward? And what do I do while I'm in the midst of this job? What am I thinking about? Because the amount of times I've finished on a job and then I haven't set myself up for what's to come after, like, you know, like, these are things I've all learned along the way. But like, if we can kind of funnel that in a little bit earlier, it would just give.
Yeah.
I think it might take away some fear too, and it would give them the ownership of going, shit, do I want to be in this life? Yeah, you know what? I'm down for it.
Yes,
Like,
I'm ready.
that's it. And you know, it's that, because it is, it's what we do, and it is who we are. It's not like the 9-to-5 hustle, you know. We're hustling, and also we're going, right, we're in a COVID world.
Yeah.
We're in a pandemic world. How am I going to be innovative and keep
And they're gonna
how am I going to
adapt.
keep the theatre open, keep, doing shows
Yeah.
and keep teaching people safely and not put them at risk, even though, because it's my life and it's my art and I want to give off as much as I can. But it is, we have to, that's how we think. Whereas 9 to 5s are just like, nah, thrown in the towel.
Yeah.
I'm either working from home or I'm quitting.
Yeah.
It's like, we're not quitting.
Yeah.
We're sitting here all together to discuss
Yeah.
what is still our industry, whether the government believes that we actually exist or not.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
exactly. How do you feel your second year was different to your first year, Dylan? Were you more ready the second year?
Oh yeah, definitely, and way
Even
more
just
coffee
being-
too.
Yeah,
I was there, I saw it.
I've done this.
But also, what did you come to Adelaide? Like, how did you feel? Like, when you said, I'm going to Brain Street just
Yeah.
because you've seen it be a popular thing. Like, what was in your heart going, I'm just going to go there. I'm going to do a full-time out of Adelaide. I'm going to Sydney.
All
Like,
I
it's
knew
huge.
is I wanted to dance. That's all I knew, and wanted to be in this world. That's all I knew, and I knew it was either Melbourne or Sydney, and it just happened to be Sydney. There's no real clear answer. I still haven't even really dived into it to think about it myself, but I mean,
I'm
it's
just going to
interesting.
unwrap this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna go back to your childhood, Dylan.
Oh God,
Because
don't.
you've been someone that's like diversified a lot with your career. You've gone into videography. What was your job title with Keenan in America?
I don't even.
A
I
bit of
don't
everything,
know.
doing everything.
Artistic director.
Do you think you
Something like that.
Something like that.
Everything.
Everything.
Man.
everything? do you think
Side
you
bitch.
like
Seriously.
got a lot of the tools through full time, or do you think a lot of those things maybe should be covered more?
No, a lot of my core tools I definitely learned full time.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do I explain this? Right? I think it's more. There were a few people that taught me in full time where they taught me to connect with myself through my movement, rather than just. And you were probably the biggest one.
Oh, thanks, mate.
Okay, Boo?
But that it really changed my outlook on life, and especially the way I dance as well.
Yeah,
So-
right. And that's what it is, right? It's more than just dance steps, and that's what I keep getting at.
Exactly.
It's not about becoming a better dancer. You should be a good enough dancer, and you should learn about yourself. You should learn so many other aspects, which I think some are doing. And we said this in the first episode too. To be clear, we're not saying everyone's doing the wrong thing or no one's doing the right thing.
Okay.
I am.
There's always but
What do
I
you
think
mean?
I think if there's studios out there that are thinking actually maybe I should put more tap into it, maybe I should. That's what I think it's about. Kind of going, what are the right changes we can make as an industry, and what are some of the things I'm doing really well and maybe not, and kind of working through that together. Because we're all in the same. The whole industry is in this together.
We're all in this together. How's the song go?
We are all in this together. See, singing lessons. Yeah.
None of us singing tune.
Do you have auto tune?
We all picked our own melody.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Dylan's
They're
someone I
all-
use as an example all the time because people are like, a lot of people that ask about doing full time for
Of the best dancer. In
of
the
the
country.
best premier
Best in the
dancer, the Bayfline, guys. This is the standard. No, after I get off that spiel, when people come up to me and ask like, should I do a second year full time? And look, a lot of the time I'm like, probably the answer is no. But you're a good example of someone that because obviously I taught both of those years. I was there every week. The first year you were coming out of your shell. It was in a very personality-driven year. It was Ryan Gonzalez, Stephen Perez, Lauren Elton, Gaynor Hicks, Ashley Tavares. Like you were like thrown into this like
Yeah, I was with
Pack of
the,
wolves.
pressure
Yeah.
cooker of personality.
Totally.
Coming from Adelaide would have been really overwhelming. And then to see the shift between year one and then you've already taken on that year. You've already kind of got your bearings a little bit, and then year two was really the year where you went like from A to B to C to D. When you started to connect, it's like you figured out what all the puzzle pieces were in the first year, and then in the second year you figured out how to like put them all together. And like that's an example of like full time is going to be different for everyone.
Yes.
Some people do full time for 3 years and it benefits them.
Yeah.
Some people do full time for 6 months. They book a job halfway through the year. They're great to go. They're ready to go. Some people don't do full time,
Yeah.
and it's really a case by case kind of thing. And it's
Definitely.
up to yourself and your mentors and the course director to be able to see that for you.
Yeah.
And kind of cater, make that for, you know what I mean?
That's such a good point, Stephen. I think
Stephen, you've never called me that.
I know I never call you
Yeah.
Stephen. It's the official name.
What's his name?
Tannos.
As a studio owner, I definitely sit down with every student once they, in their last year, maybe 17, 18, and like you said, the answer's different for everyone.
Yeah.
And I mean, I always encourage everyone, if they are ready for full-time, to go and meet everyone, do all the auditions. But I guess what I mean is, some 18-year-olds, I'm like, you know what, you need to do another year here first.
Yeah.
Some I'm like, you know what, do a whole year of private singing lessons, give them a few options. And some I'm like, you're so ready for full-time. So everyone's different. And one of the biggest issues I have, or one of the questions I wanted to have for you guys, is there's a lot of courses now that are taking kids in for full-time training, so they're training all day.
Right.
Some of them are doing school as well,
Yeah.
on the side or through distance education or something like that. But they're essentially doing like a full day of dance
Yeah.
at like 14.
Yeah.
What are your views on that?
I think it's terrible.
Yeah.
Like, a whole day, and not even I would sustain a whole day of dancing. And I love it. But you don't do that in the real world, in our business. We rehearse from, 10 till 6, with 4 breaks in between in a musical, and you have a lunch break. So you're not ever dancing the whole day, It's just...
But I think you're ready for that kind of year or two when you're 18, 19, 20. I encourage people to do it a little bit later these days. But I just think there's so many kids burning out. And I think it's often the ones that are so good and so promising that are being pushed and feeling the pressure to go, oh, I need to do more. That other girl is in full-time already. I've got to get my daughter in, but they're burning out and they're quitting.
But it's also, it's just terrible. It's
not sustainable.
It's not sustainable, and it's kind of like child abuse. Like, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Like, it's just you like, that's the parents or whoever, that is unacceptable. They're a child. How do you tell stories if you don't experience a childhood, or if you don't experience life? How
You're
do you
locked in a dance studio all day.
Yeah, that's right. How do you put your
Yes.
physicality? How
Life
do you
experience.
you're not? It's redundant. I think it's an absolute crock.
you'd be able to say, like, what's probably the most lacking thing that you're of kids that you're auditioning is probably more of the performance quality.
Storytelling. Absolute connection.
And
Like,
that comes
sing
through
me a
life
song and
experience.
connect. Don't just
They're
or
so
dance.
afraid.
Just like, don't just stand there, stare at me, and do the dance.
Yeah.
Like, there's that, and it's such a, it is, and you're right. And at an older age, it should be more discussed, because you can't go into, you should be just doing fun jazz dances at 14.
Yeah.
Keep it real. I mean, you could, cause there's a whole nother world we can open up here, where we talk about connection with your body, over-sexualized type movement, storytelling in a sexual connotation, and, 14-year-olds, I don't believe, should be exploring that, out in the open in the dance studio with 20 other
They
people.
know nothing about it, nor
You
should
know?
they.
There's so many other elements to that, like I was saying before, being able to sit with your full-time course and give them that real talk. Tell them how it's really going to be in the industry, or give them that routine that's a little bit more adult. You can't really, or you shouldn't be doing that if you've got 14-year-olds in the room.
Absolutely
So
not.
your course should be with adults only. Like, they should be ready
Well,
for
it
that.
holds back the people who are the adults in the room as well. Like, if
Exactly,
they're
holding them back.
having to feel like they're having a sense of what they're saying throughout class. Like, you want to have, like-minded ages around you while you're training is so important, I think.
100%.
Because you're on the same stage of development.
And we're not measured, we're in those classrooms, and we are in safe spaces. As a teacher, we're safe to say things, we're safe to experience things, we're safe to talk about stories and find ways of connecting movement and story, whatever it may be. But yeah, with children in the room, it's a completely different space.
Yes.
Because we're respectful, and we know what we should be saying and what
Watching
we should be
their
talking
mouths
about.
and-
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we're not the ones to teach, 10-year-olds about things that their parents should be teaching them about.
No.
They should have accidentally fall into that.
Yeah.
Totally.
And on the other side of that, I think that full-time almost does need to be tougher, assuming they are older, on those young
Definitely.
adults.
It's real life.
It's real life. Like,
absolutely.
I heard so many stories before.
Suck it up, bitch.
Yeah.
Well, I heard so many stories of like people throwing chairs at the studio. I mean, not that anyone should do that. No one should do that.
DJ's like,
But,
we need more chairs.
No one should do that. But the point is, it's changed so much now. You know, having younger people in there, and
It's become very politically correct. I
Yes,
feel like,
which is not what.
they don't want them to leave.
Yes.
It's a business.
Yes.
yeah, which is a dangerous territory to
Especially
enter
for
into.
us, for
Yeah.
the four sitting around this table, because we
Yeah.
are freedom fighters.
100%.
We're all about creative expression.
Yeah.
And yeah, you draw that line.
Yeah,
Look, a
definitely.
chair's being thrown at you, it's fine. Don't worry.
You'll be right, mate. Patch it up, move on.
It's just sidestep.
Just park right over there. All right? Step ball, change and exit. You know? Sarah Jane away from but safely.
Sarah Jane.
Sarah Jane.
That's what I was trying to think of. I was like,
Yes,
what's that
Sarah
drop
Jane.
that's Tannos
Sarah
used to
Jane.
always do? In the socks.
Probably so badly.
So badly, but so not safe dance practice.
So not safe. I come from that though.
That's so strong.
I come from
So
like,
strong.
you know, just throw it at the wall, you know? It's the only way. And there's a lot of a fear in that nowadays. I hate saying nowadays, it just makes, whatever. There's a lot of a fear of like kids
Makes me
wanting,
feel 100.
it makes me feel 100. What the hell?
Well, it makes me feel 200.
But like, I feel like students and kids, and not even kids, you know, full-timers, they're afraid to really pick it up and throw it at the wall now. Like,
Yeah.
I see a lot less experimenting.
Yes.
I see it so many, and this is probably a topic that's been covered many times, but I see just so many carbon copies, the same outfits, the same
Yeah.
style of clothing, the same cut of pants, the same haircut. That, you know, we're all kind of funneling into this one impossible thing that doesn't really exist. It's just a thing that's cool right now. And like, I was so not concerned with. I think a dancer and a creator needs to have an element of timelessness to what they're doing. And the
Yeah.
only way you can be timeless is if you're being truly 100% authentically honest to yourself at that time.
Yes.
And not worrying about what's going on around you. What is the thing that represents me? And it's the same for dance. And it's a thing that I feel like needs to be more and more encouraged, especially in these full-time courses. You know, the idea of celebrating what it is that you bring to the table amongst being able to do all these other things.
Yes. Which
yeah.
is another thing which comes to some full-time courses having so many people. How is it possible for you to really get in and go, what's this person's deal? Dylan, we need to figure out who you are as a person. That person needs to maybe get better at ballet. That person needs to experiment more with choreography because, like, you know, I can see it in them.
But that's it. But also that's what is not told is we are our own business.
Exactly.
As a full-timer, this is your business.
Yep.
So your business is what is your brand?
Find your thing. Yeah.
Find your thing. Let us find it. Let's go hone your skills and go out. This is your brand. This is my brand. This is Dill's brand. This is your brand. This is Jordan's brand. Like, we all have brands. We all have our business. We all have our own brand slapped on our foreheads.
Yeah.
Totally.
You know,
Varying
and that's
colours.
important. It's like, it's interesting because I only did a year of full-time back then in the 90s. So I always I've never been asked or said to someone, why do you do a second year? Because I don't know why, because I did one and just went out and just did it, but it was a very different world then. So, like, my question is, what is the second year bring? Like, what do you feel go at the end of the year without anybody saying, you need to stay because we need your money? Or, like, what do you feel to do a second year of full-time? Like, what does that mean?
Well, I mean, for me, it was purely for the training aspect of it. And I felt like after about 6 months into my second year, I started working. And that's when I felt like I was really ready. And I remember talking to my mum, who actually taught me to dance. She was a dance teacher. And I was like, I think I should just quit because I'm working. This was the goal. I'm doing it now. I'm barely at full time. And she made me stay, which was great because then I got an extra 6 months of training. She said to me, the point of my second year, this is what I told her when I decided I wanted to do it. The point of my second year was purely just to train, not to, like, I was even content with not being a part of grad or anything. It was just to train. And then, I mean, I ended up being a part of grad and everything and did the full time like you normally do. But, so my second year was purely just for the training aspect of it all.
And that's a thing that I don't think people don't talk enough about the communication about doing a first year, what you want to get into it. I'm not saying you have to set your goals, but go, right, I'm going to get there and I think that I will do a second year, or I'm halfway through, I'm already working. All those things, those discussions just don't feel like they're being had more often than not, you know.
Yeah.
And like a lot can change in a year of full time for yourself as well. Like,
Definitely.
Yeah, you can start working halfway through.
someone can discover they love choreography. Someone
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
discover they're fascinated by the camera. Like,
Yeah.
you know, dance has so many different offshoots that we've all explored and
Yeah.
continue to explore and broaden ourselves with. Like, that should be celebrated too, I think. You know, like, you're going to have 90 people in a full-time course, 80, 70, whatever it is. All those 80, 70 people are not the same person, and they're not all going to fit into this one little box of commercial dancer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's such a limited box with so few jobs going around for it.
Yeah.
There's all these other fields that what we do is the kind of epicenter of, that I feel like it needs to be, I don't know, just celebrated a little bit more, you know?
And discussed and it's okay. You know,
Yeah.
like it's about being innovative, you know, and expanding your full-time course for it to cater for all these different people in
Yes.
arts and entertainment.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, and focus on them wholly and solely. You know, like really put in the time to go, hi, BJ, I'd like to call you Liam.
We'll get Liam on
Yeah.
Monday.
Yeah, but it is, you know, it's like, hi, you know, what do you feel? What do you like? How many course coordinators actually sit with their people and
Yeah.
go, hi, just tell me what you like. Do you like art? Do you like pop culture? Are you into, you know, who are your favourites, you know,
Yeah.
musicians?
Yeah.
Like, just,
Because you'd learn a lot.
you learn so much, but then you also can cater the classes to, you have a group of people that love, you know, acid house music, great. You know what? Well, that's gonna keep them alive during class. So let's do,
Right.
you know, KTL to acid house, or you know, what? I don't know, like it is. But you know, you have a group of people that love jazz music. Great. You know what? We're all going out and taking you to a bar to see a jazz
Yeah,
trio.
yeah.
Like we have the ability to share and care with our stories and our knowledge. It's free. I'll give it away for free. I don't care, you know, because I have so much. And
Yeah.
I want you to understand what it is to be an artist, what it is to see artists doing what we do.
Yeah.
You know, like, because you're only going to grow as an artist and you're going to understand why I took you to that jazz trio.
Yeah.
When you come back and you have to do, I don't know, a jazz trio piece in a you know, like, it's just that, I don't understand. You can't just teach class anymore. You know, to full-timers. Full-timers
Yeah.
are, you know, they're adults, and we have to prep them as best we possibly can to go out into the world and audition for some people that are absolute dickheads.
Yeah.
You know, so you have to have them deal with that. You know, like they have to be, you're going to be in a leotard, and there might be a producer sitting in there that might be, you know, of a certain age and of a certain, you know, personality that you're not going to like. Just dance. Focus on nothing else. Just dance and know your rights. Know where, you know. It's so many more levels than just
Yes.
going in and teaching dances.
But I think you hit the nail on the head in the sense of it's a business. Let's prepare them to sell their service.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And if you're understanding who they are individually, if you're educating them on all the different elements, like you mentioned, Liam, so many people I see now that used to be BJ's brother, now like he's working on so many events.
it.
It's like,
Yeah.
oh, you're Liam's brother because he didn't find his place in the dance world being a commercial dancer, and now it took him so many years to find
his
that
niche,
place.
absolutely.
Everyone's different. Everyone will find a different passion.
Yeah.
If they understand all the elements of that industry, and they understand how to sell themselves and find that thing that makes them tick, they're going to find a place that lasts for a long time.
That's it.
And look, some people go to full-time and discover that this line of work is not for them as well.
Exactly, yeah.
And I think that needs to be
Same
more of a
as
thing that's
uni
okay.
courses and
You know, like,
That's it.
yeah, like why is it not, you know, stigmatized for that kind of thing? You know, like it is a lot of money and this, that, and the other, but like you can't put a price on the rest of your life. You know, like, you know, a lot of people discover that.
Yeah.
You know, it's also okay.
Do you think that, you know how we were talking about before, a lot of guest teachers coming in and not so many regular teachers, and if they are, they're not so much like you teach pretty regular Brent Street
Yeah,
or something,
yeah, yeah.
right? But
Yeah,
you don't,
Village, yeah.
but you wouldn't like hang around at the school and like you just come
Yeah,
in
yeah.
and you teach
Yeah.
and then, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I do as well. And
I
I
hope
feel,
Yeah. Not this day and age.
I feel like that when I was in full time, it was like Cameron, Lucas, Jason Winters, trying to think, Darren Disney, Darren Mapes, all these people
Yeah.
were there every single day.
Yeah, yeah.
and just there pretty much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I could communicate. It got to the stage because I spent so much time there and we were there every day with each other. I became more comfortable.
Yeah.
And then you're okay with failing. You're okay with
Yes.
asking
Yeah.
those questions. And it's
Yeah.
like these full-time courses at the moment, I mean, I don't really teach that much anymore, but from what I see, it's like there's so many guest slots and so many different people coming in and out. It's like, where did that core team go? And
Who are they feeling comfortable enough with
exactly.
Yeah.
to open up to? Or,
Exactly.
It's interesting. Nathan Wright and myself, Nathan, who is the choreographer of Baz Luhrmann's new movie Elvis, he and I did Rocky Horror together. We've been friends for a long time. We taught full-timers term 2, and we started with them, and we said, you know, what do you want to be? What are you doing here? What, you know, commercial dancer, X Factor, lots of commercial dancers. Nathan and I primarily work in musical theatre together, but we can do it whatever else we need to do. But so we thought we'll just do some musicals. We'll just, you know, get them into it, different styles. Within 9 weeks, we'd flipped the whole entire course at the Village. You know, they just like singing lessons went up 80%. You know, private singing lessons went up. They all just go, oh my God. And I'm like, you don't, I'm not a musical theatre, I am a musical theatre performer, but I'm an everything. I'll do whatever it is. I'm a dancer, I'm a performer, you know. So I'm on a flip. I don't want you to not be a commercial dancer. I want you to be also accessible as well as
another
that.
feather in the hat.
And that's it. And you can probably now, you've got access to 70 jobs instead of 7, you know. So, and it is, and just the intensity of caring for them. You know, we were doing 3 and 4 hour intensive classes with them weekly because you just want to know. I want to know, and I don't want to fool you into coming into this course and going, yeah, you're not going to make it, so maybe we should, you know, if you've got great technique, then let's flip it and let's start doing script work. Let's talk about, you know, how we do the whole, you know, scene into dance, into, you know, how we tell a story. Get up and just tell a story in 20 seconds, you know, like things like that. And it's really interesting to watch how in 9 weeks you could flip a class to all go, we just
by giving them the options.
Giving them the options and
Showing
reminding
them
them that, you're not just going to be a commercial dancer. You're going to be it all. If it's up to me, you're going to walk into everything.
Yes.
And as I was saying before I went off the beaten track, auditioning a lot, you see all these people come from full-time courses, Whopper, VCA. They're amazing auditionees. Then you get them in the room and they sing well. They're okay in the acting but can't dance. So that's when I go, well, that's terrible because we need singer, dancer, actors. You know, you need to understudy the leads and you need to sing your box off and you need to dance your box off. Like so.
I had a student here that at my studio that went to Whopper, and we got over there running one of my next gen projects, and he jumped on and danced, and he was like, "Oh my gosh."
We get to
I
dance.
forgot what dancing's like, and he said, "I love it here. I love everything." He's learned so much. He's become so amazing there. But I guess looking at your full-time course, like we ask dancers to look at themselves, is the answer, right? Like if you look at your course and go, "What's my weak point here? What's the thing we're not as strong at?" Find the teachers that can build that department up so that you can be equally strong in every dance style, in singing, in acting, and in all the other kind of aspects of the business side of being a performer, and put some time and effort into it.
Absolutely.
Totally. But I think the students will only take the classes as fully seriously if they're being taken, you know, being approached seriously from the other end as well. Like the amount of times I see like full-timers talking about their singing class, and I'm like, they always dread it. They're always taking the piss, and I'm like, well, maybe it feels like a thing that was a bit more regular and it was just like a required, and maybe it is required, but like if there was just more weight put on that, and you know what I mean? Like it feels like they're always, that's the class they always go to, just kind of bludge and chill and like,
Imagine if there was a class every morning, I'm talking off the cuff right now, there was a class every morning that you went to your certain place you needed to go depending on what you needed to work on the most. Like your weakest point, so say mine would be singing at the time. I would have gone, and that first lesson of the day would have been a singing lesson. And then when I start to get better at that, then I might take over with something that come in and, you know, it's like, that could happen.
And it should happen. Like it is. That's the thing. You can set, full-time coordination, set the schedule. Listen to your people, set the schedules, look at their weaknesses, just make it, like it's not hard to tailor stuff to people's needs.
Yeah, especially some of them have like 100+ full-timers. It's not like they're trying to book 20 teachers for 20 students.
I can't imagine 100+ full-timers.
I've been to some places that it's like, you walk in the building and it's like, Oh, this is your whole studio? Like, no, this is
Just full time. It's insane.
like a swarm of people. Like you can't even see through them. I'm like, whoa.
It's insane,
Yeah,
isn't it?
that's insane.
Yeah, it really is.
Different world.
Yeah.
It is. It's a lot, you know, and it's interesting too.
It's also like when I look back at, you know, say when I was a young dancer, it would have been around the time that you did full time, and I was a dancer out of Stanford's, and when City of Sydney was a massive thing, you know, you'd have your Brent Street routine, and you would like swarm to the audience to go, because those Brent Street full timers were like
Back in that.
the Bruno Mars, like they would just. I remember this disco routine, and I have this vivid memory of this guy doing a backflip off the chair, and he was wearing a wig, and it was just like the coolest shit I've ever seen before in my life. And it was, I don't know if we have that kind of connection anymore, where it feels like this prestige, like
That thing to look towards. This is what Cameron was talking about a lot. Is,
and maybe
is the
because I'm older,
progression.
Yeah.
The progression of like, you know, you're at a certain place when you're a 10-year-old, and then you know, and then you get to the point where you're ready full time. You look up to full time, and then you do full time, and then you look up to being a, you know, and there's like a progression. It's kind of like
by the time those young kids have done
blurred.
full time
Yeah.
since 14, and they've been in the building,
Exactly.
like they don't
they've
care
been
anymore.
working
Yeah.
since they did a gig at 17 and
Yeah, they don't care anymore.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
the allure has kind of disappeared.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's sad because you want to keep them in. They're the ones that you want to still love the craft, and
Yeah.
you know, they're the 14-year-olds that you want to go, as you said, watch those seniors and the full timers and go, oh yeah, I just want to be there.
But they're kind of, I guess, this might be taken the wrong way, but they're looking at full timers and the
That are
things
average.
Well, yeah, but like, I mean, I was going to say.
No, I said it.
Straight to the knee guards.
No, but I guess the things that for the things that they're valuing, which are, you know, how many pirouettes they're doing, or how many, you know,
Yeah,
what
because
trick they're doing.
Instagram tells you so.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they're looking at them and going, oh, I can do more pirouettes than those full timers. So they're not caring anymore.
That's their currency.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. That's their currency.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas that wasn't our currency. We were looking at them going, wow, did you feel that impact they just gave? Did you feel that emotion? Did you like experience that energy that they just brought to that stage?
Well, the fact that I remember that I don't even know who that guy is, like whether he's still dancing or not anymore. Yeah, he did a backflip off the chair, but the thing I remember most about him was the way he stood in front of that chair after he did that backflip and just kind of looked at the audience and like, I don't know, flicked. He did something.
Pretty Brent Street on.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was so Brent Street. It was just like.
But you do the energy.
But I remember it. Yeah.
But where is the competitions that, you know, create that buzz and that hive and that support that we used to always go, yeah, where Brent Street is sitting with, you know, ED5ers and, you know, all our friends were still there and, you know, Capital and like, you know, you'd still, you know, because our teachers all danced together in the world and then they all had their own studios, but we were all still one family supporting everybody.
Totally.
Even, you know, not the greatest performances, like, you know, you still loved
Still
them,
be part of
you
it,
know,
yeah.
Totally.
and we were all part of that. But
Yeah.
I mean, what competition exists now? Like the City of Sydney, I don't think
That was just
No.
that was like an event
Like-
you look forward to.
Competitions is definitely another episode that will feature in the future. I think it's something really important that we need to talk about. Something that
Another world that's changed.
another world that's
entirely
changed
through
It's-
social media.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
another whole topic, and yeah, that's the beauty of this. I think that through social media and through all the forums that people are learning from now, the reason why Jordan and I wanted to start this is we want people to hear knowledge from other avenues, from people that maybe aren't as active on social media, aren't as in everyone's face, or maybe just you haven't heard from their perspective on certain topics, and get that information out there because they need to hear it. People need to hear about what's really happening in this industry on a professional level.
People that have lived it.
People that have lived it, exactly.
Oh, okay, thanks.
People that are living it.
At
Sorry.
me, people have lived it. Dead.
Not past
And she's had a wonderful career
Not
in
past,
Memoriam, Leah
current.
Howard.
People that have lived it and are still living it.
Yes, I actually put those words in my mouth.
No, but if you've lived it and are still living it, you can tell them what really happens out there.
That's it. And it's things that they might be scared to ask or scared to hear or and I think that's why, doing this is important. I think you've picked a great topic, because it's also something that I would just be like, oh wow, I didn't think I was going to speak about this today.
Yeah.
But it's interesting hearing from us all that we have, Dills and I mainly that have done full time, but because people don't ask questions a lot in classes because they don't feel safe. And so if we have said anything remotely tonight that, might help them through, or they might have, always wanted to know about, it's just something. Even like one bit of information. Oh, just anything.
Something to think about when they're looking for their course. Or
Yeah.
something to,
But it's always that one nugget of information that resonates with that person. That's the thing that they're going to carry through with
That's
them. There's little phrases I can remember from people that have told me things.
Yep.
I don't remember whole spiels. I just remember these one little things, and everyone's different. Someone will find something within one of these episodes that they could maybe help them.
And that's the same with full-time. I think that there's a lot of teachers that like to talk a lot more during full-time classes. I'm definitely a teacher that likes to talk a lot more to my students now than when I first started teaching. And those parts, I think, for the students, they're like, oh, break time, and they can sit down.
Yeah.
Those are the moments, if you're really focused, that are going to change your perspective, that are going to change your outlook, and actually maybe change the future of your career.
Absolutely.
And that's what this is about. Listen, watch them, and if you're in class and your teacher starts talking about something that they've lived or something they've experienced themselves, absorb it and actually try to find that little moment that you can take for the rest of your journey.
Yeah.
Totally.
That's one thing I always do when I do teach full time, is I always ask them who inspires them, and then after they tell me who inspires them, I ask them what they want to do, like what they want to be as a dancer. What's their ultimate goal? And 9 times out of 10, they always say that the people they look up to are people that we see on Instagram, the people that are in class, the people that are training. And then they say what they want to do. They want to be on X Factor, or they want to do a world tour or something. I go, well, then that person that you just said that you're inspired by is in class. They're not on the gig.
Yeah.
Why aren't you looking at the person that's doing the job and be inspired by that person?
Totally.
Not by someone that is. You're inspired by someone that's in. It's
Not
like
there yet.
levels of inspiration. Right?
Exactly.
That's a really hard thing to kind of,
No, it's been joy.
little side percussion for the episode. That's a hard thing.
I love just underscoring.
Underscoring.
You've got some rhythms over there.
It's because you're like, don't smack on the table too much.
Is Joe here?
Oh God, rhythms.
Rhythms. I don't have enough. But that's a very hard thing to kind of override, because social media is such a powerful thing.
Yeah.
And there's so much amazing things about it, but how can you change that whole perspective and culture? All I think we can do is do what we do best and influence as much as we can from our own perspectives. Because I think the more you try and diminish those other things that are happening, you're actually spending less time
Focusing on.
Yeah.
100%.
But what you said is so true though.
Yeah.
Like I experience the exact same thing. And sure, if it is a problem, but there's got to be, it's just got to be fuel for us to kind of push it even harder and get a little bit more grimy with it, and a bit more, honest and real and relentless, and make them sweat, make their necks hurt.
Yep.
Yeah,
do something about it.
Yeah.
I do like to say, just break your neck, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Later.
I get that many complaints from my choreography, like my neck hurts next day. I'm like, well, I'm glad something hurts.
Yeah.
Like Jesus. What are we doing here?
You didn't do it
It's going to be cut.
leave that in. Dancing hurts, right?
It does.
That's
It's a
still
great
right.
hurt. It's
it's all
physical.
part of it.
We're athletes. Look at us sitting here. Athletes.
That's the only full view you've got.
Was an athlete.
On profile.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
No, but it is true. We put our bodies through hell.
Yeah, it's been great.
Yeah, it's been
I'm having no knees.
You know what?
There's nothing wrong
As
with
much
me.
we could go on,
We could go on
night.
all night. We are in the pocket right now.
but I think we can leave it there.
Put a bow around it.
I hope you guys have had fun.
We have had a good
A lot
time.
of
Thanks for
fun.
having us.
Thank you so much. It's been awesome chatting to you guys.
So in summary, don't go to full time. I'm kidding.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like you said, everyone's in a different position. It's about doing your research. It's about knowing what your full-time course is for, knowing you're ready for it, and then understanding kind of what your process is going to be through that year and approaching it with attack and really going for it.
Yeah, and it's going to be hard. There's no guarantee that this was meant to be easy. Life is hard. And if you want to live this life, you have to go with it and you have to, really push. And full-time is the beginning of some great things, whether, you end up in the industry or not. It's a really great beginning, I think, for, young adults' lives. You learn, you create, you explore, you make new friends. And I think they're all really amazing things that you really should hold on to and, will absolutely give you. I mean, all my full-time friends are still my friends, thank God. And that's, 20 years ago. So it is something special.
Yeah.
There is something special about full-time, but remember you're there for yourself and, you've got to make it work to live this life.
Yeah, be ready for your career at the end of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for watching, guys. Remember to subscribe. We're here on this journey together, and we need to make sure you guys are subscribing. Click on that little bell icon, and we can keep growing the channel. Chuck a comment in the bottom. Tell us some kind of ideas for episodes, some guests you'd like to have on. And yeah, I really appreciate you guys watching. Thanks so much, and we'll see you on the next episode of Dance Talk.
Yeah.